Greetings, it is I, Tamer Akkad, priest of Deng'r Zul, leader of the guerrillas of Deng'r Zul. That's you guys. I've been away for a while. I'll cover that in another podcast, videocast, whatever the hell this thing is I do. Today, I wanted, in the spirit of Christmas, to talk about the birth of our Lord, Deng'r Zul. Now, everyone knows that a lot of Christmas stuff that we do is stolen from pagans, like the decorating the tree, and that their god's birth was on near the solstice, and holly. That's an incredibly pagan thing. Jesus didn't do anything with holly, mistletoe. Anyway, again, I'm a bit down. I didn't speak with Deng'r Zul. I was commanded by Deng'r Zul, and the problem with that is that when you talk to a god, it literally kind of breaks your neurology at a minimum, but it's also kind of hard on your physical body. Anyway, I'll cover that with another subliminal round, but tonight, in the spirit of Christmas, I want to tell you the tale, the birth of Deng'r Zul. So, before time existed, good and evil, the concepts of good and evil, are hanging out, as they do, and they were bored. Because time didn't exist yet, they didn't know how long they'd been bored, but they were bored. And before time existed, everything was happening at once. Time is really good for making sure everything doesn't happen at once. And so literally quintillions upon quintillions of events were happening all at once, and it was kind of hard to tell what was causing what. So good, being what it is, good decided, hey, what if we spread out causality across a plane? Now, you and I, we can only perceive time as a vector, and we see it sort of as a straight line, but time has at least as many dimensions as space, which is why some people who are psychic get sort of a hint at other possibilities. Jet pilots, not like the fake psychics, but people with actual psychic powers. Your average jet pilot is mildly psychic, and that's because they can peek beyond the one dimension or vector of time that we can see. They can see a little bit outside of that, and that gives them their lucky choices. Anyway, so good thought, hey, I'll spread everything out across this plane, then we'll be able to see what caused what. Instead of just everything happening at once, we can have an event, and that triggers another event, and that triggers another event, and this way we can sort of get a better sense of how it's organized. Now, at the same time good was thinking that, evil was slapping good as hard as it could, because evil tends to find that shit funny. And it is, just to slap, that's hilarious. Anyway, so at that exact moment when everything else was happening, but also good was thinking, hey, why don't we spread time out? And evil, slapping time as hard as it could, boom, time starts spreading out and all the events were taken with it. Now, good and evil both love time. They love this concept. Time is a very cool way of organizing stuff. Unfortunately, along with time, you have the byproduct of space and matter. Now, good and evil hated space and matter. They still do. And that's because space and matter are technically a waste product of time, according to them. You can't have time. It's like babies are adorable, but if you don't feed them, they die, and they're less adorable. And so if you feed a baby, though, you get poop, and that stinks. Well, space and matter are the poop from the time baby, which I didn't expect to say this morning, but there you go. Anyway, so good and evil, they like time. Matter, space, not so much. And that event was later described by a Catholic priest of all people, and went on to become the founding theory for the Big Bang. Now, when everything from all time is in this spaceless, timeless singularity, and then it gets spread out to everywhere, and then also everywhere just starts to exist. sometimes it's like pulling out saran wrap too fast. You get a tear in there. So there are places in the fabric of time and space where, because it's spread out so quickly, again, from the slap from evil, it took the slap from evil and the concept of spreading things out from good, and that's how we got the Big Bang. So when you pull that saran wrap, sometimes it'll cause tears. Now, good and evil are beyond time and space, but time and space are not beyond good and evil. And so sometimes when those tears happen, either good or evil, and by the way, there's more than just good or evil, but they're the only characters in this story. Either good or evil was kind of underneath that tear at that place, because it kind of gave them location as well. They're also locationless, but in a way it gave them a way to emanate from a location as location started existing. And so you'd get tears in the fabric of time and space, and whether good or evil or whatever was underneath it, that sort of came through and was essentially, and I mean essential like in essential oils, like in the spirit of it, is its core essence is that thing. So in those good, where good was underneath it, and a tear in space happens, beautiful miracles happen. And where evil happens, well, that's where Deng'r Zul was born from. A rip in the fabric of time and space at the moment it was created, where evil was underneath it. And Deng'r Zul was always a part of evil. Sort of a subset. It's kind of, I don't want to get into that whole Christian thing of the three-leaf clover Godhead thing, but there's a lot of stuff in the evil anti-Godhead, whatever. So, that was the birth of our Lord Deng'r Zul. A rip in time and space where evil was underneath the underlying structure of what tore apart. And the first billion years, I'm not going to lie, they were really tough for Deng'r Zul. Really tough. Think of when a baby's learning to walk. They don't do it very good at the start. It takes years. So, anyway, that's the birth of Deng'r Zul, and a lot of people don't know it. They know that the Christians stole a lot of pagan Christmas ideas, pagan solstice celebrations. What they don't realize is that some of the worship of Deng'r Zul is underneath those pagan Christmas traditions. For instance, the burning of a Yule log is actually symbolic of catching an STD. It's a burning log. It's a burning phallus. And, when you're evil and you sleep around all like that, sometimes your log starts burning. And decorating a tree actually goes back to Deng'r Zul as well. For a period during that first couple billion years, there weren't as many cool life forms to sort of inhabit. And while he did exist in time and space and had matter, it was more common that his underlying nature would possess a thing of matter. And so for a couple of 100 million years, he was something tree-like. It was actually closer to a mushroom in structural. I mean, when you looked at it at a cellular level, it was closer to a mushroom, but it kind of looked like a tree. And at times during that, he would have worshippers that would decorate him with gifts. So we celebrate the birth of Deng'r Zul every year around this time because, and this is important, everybody else is off from work for Christmas, and it just makes it easier to celebrate. Anyway, so that's the story of the birth of Deng'r Zul, our evil, horrible god, who we worship. He's not paying that much attention. It's mostly for the fun, right? So, anyway, and Merry Zulmas. Tamarakat out.